So you're saying, I love you, these are the problems, here's the solutions.
Yeah.
Now comes the real kicker.
Yeah.
And here are the consequences.
Love is the key always in this, not judgment, confrontation.
Mm-hmm.
It's what they call tough love.
If you look at the statistics, then the statistics for the success are actually very, very high.
Okay.
Provided you go through all the steps. Hello, and welcome to the Bottled Up podcast for families. I'm John.
And I'm Lou. And today we're talking about interventions and the process of how you go about staging that intervention.
It's important to plan an intervention properly. And in this podcast, we'll go through what you'll need to know, what you'll need to do, and who you may call upon to give your intervention the best chance of working.
So, interventions are pretty different to what we see in the movies, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you've got this impression of Friends or some other movies that, that the group just gather together, sit down, put a banner up in the back of the sofa, and that's the intervention. Off they go. And magically, at the end of it, the person changes. But it's not like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the result's the same, but the preparation is what's really important.
Can I ask a question here? Because as living with a drinker, you're kind of always going for interventions,
Yeah.
but they're more like threats, aren't they? If you do this, I will do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this if you don't do this. And half the time, they're just hot air. We don't kind of follow them through. Does that have an effect on the drinker?
Ultimatums
Yeah.
are very difficult.
Right. So this is not, an intervention is not an ultimatum?
No, it's not an ultimatum at all.
Okay, because I think we need to sort of establish that.
Although there may be a sense of an ultimatum towards the end of it. You know, but really, the intervention is a very small part. The actual intervention is a very small part of the intervention itself.
Okay.
It starts away further back. It's like many things, that, if you're baking a cake, taking the cake out of the oven is not the baking. Mm-hmm. It's getting all the ingredients together, it's mixing them up, and it's then putting it in the oven and baking it.
So it needs to be planned, basically.
Very much so.
Okay.
Very much so. You need a lot of planning to go into an intervention. You need to know a lot of things about it. Mm. For a start, you need a team. Mm-hmm. An intervention on its own is possible, but it's very weak. The people that you get need to be people who love you, mm-hmm. love your drinker.
Mm. That's really important, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And carry some authority with your drinker.
Mean?
Well, people that your drinker will listen to.
Someone.
I don't mean somebody who comes in a uniform I mean somebody who has some clout with your drinkers. Somebody who whose opinion they value. That's what I mean by authority.
Yeah. So in my situation, it would have been my mum and dad-in-law, because my husband would have hated to be known by them.
Yeah, their parents.
Yeah.
Provided.
Yeah, this is important, isn't it?
Provided they actually get on with the parents.
Yeah.
If they don't get on with the parents, then you just get the hackles up right away. Because you really want the person that you're doing this intervention with to listen to you. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to listen to you if there's a lot of animosity between you.
Okay. This is a bit of a curveball, but being a counsellor...
How unusual.
I'm always thinking of where this will land.
Oh, dear.
What about someone who feels really isolated, maybe in a different country or something, and can't readily find a little group of people?
That makes it that bit more difficult, but very few people will be totally isolated in another country. Mm. However, if they are, then you can always set up a group Skype call.
Okay, yeah.
Or a group Zoom call. Yeah. There are always ways of doing this. You could have a laptop in the middle of the room with, all these different people
Because a lot of people
chiming
get
in.
more and more isolated, don't they? Their friendship group, or even
Yes.
you
Yeah.
know what's going on.
Yeah.
They just feel as if the people that they love are not quite there anymore. I'm sorry to ask that; it's a difficult question.
No, but unless people are actually on a desert island somewhere, you know, then it's the very few people will be so isolated that they couldn't call on somebody.
Yeah.
You know, because probably they have a boss, or they have a couple of friends that they've made in that other country. So yeah, you're trying to build a team. It's important to understand that this is not the only route to recovery.
Okay.
You know, intervention is one route to recovery, but it's not the only route to recovery. There are other ways.
Yeah. And your life story is an example of that. But it is a powerful route to recovery, isn't it?
It is a powerful route to recovery, but it's not a route that everybody can take, and for various reasons. And we'll talk about that as we go down. You know, okay, some people can't get a team together. That's a possibility. But some people can't actually follow through with some of the things that they need to do. Some people, it's just they don't feel that they have the power or the capacity or even the authority. And they become powerless, completely powerless. We talked about learned helplessness in a previous one. Sometimes that kicks in here. But the other thing is that it's about the consequences if they don't follow through. And we'll talk about that one. That's where many people actually sort of don't go through with an intervention.
Okay.
That's where it stops, you know.
Okay, so practically then, what we're talking about here, if I'm planning an intervention, what do you want me to do?
Okay, the first thing I would want you to do is I would want you to do SHARE.
Okay.
We did that previously. That's a good tool. You sat down and you look at SHARE.
Yeah, which is safety, health,
ambition, relationships, and environment.
Yeah.
You know, you score that and you get the most important ones for you.
Yeah.
If you have a team, if you've got a group of people who are round about you, you ask them to do a version of SHARE for themselves, not for you, for themselves. For example, if you recruited me and it's your husband and your husband is my best friend, then I might talk about how I've lost a best friend, is drinking, how I don't see him anymore, and when I do see him, he's drinking, etc., etc. And that's what I'm bringing to the table.
Yeah.
Now, once you've done SHARE, then you put down, what is it I want to say to this person? What is it I want to say to this drinker? And you actually might want to write it down. In fact, you might even want to put it in the form of a letter. That's actually quite powerful as well, because when you're sitting in front of somebody, it can be a bit daunting. And it can feel a bit sort of pokey, the finger at, and that's the last thing you want.
Yeah, because the trick of doing this is not for them to feel that you're on a witch hunt to
absolutely
them down and
not.
Yeah.
So you've got the group, you've got them either writing a letter or writing what they want to say, even if it's just on a card, a couple of headings on it, but they know what they want to say.
Okay. So everyone's got their script.
Yes.
Okay.
Now you want to know, okay, what are the options?
Okay. Is this the drinker thinking that, or
no? This is you doing the intervention. You want to say, okay, I'm telling them what are the problems. Now I need to say, and here are the solutions.
Okay. So this need to be really, really thoughtful. We've got a course on this, haven't we?
We have got a course on it. We've got a course on it. It takes you through step by step. It's about 4 hours long, which is not to put you off. But it tells you step by step exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it.
I mean, it's not in the movies, but it is a crucial scene in the narrative of this life. And so it needs to be done well, doesn't it? That's the thing. It needs to be prepared.
Yeah, you need to start and look around and say, well, what is available? Let's look. There's the GP, there's AA groups, there's smart recovery groups, there's a local alcohol and drink services, there's sober buddies, there's private counsellors. There's lots and lots of things, and you can put them all down. Because you're trying to forestall the drinker. Because, okay, Here's the problems. All right, I'll look and see what I can do.
Yeah.
Oh, no, here's one I prepared earlier. And you put it down and say, here you are.
Again, it's all specifics, isn't it? It's just
very specific.
This is how it's affecting us.
Oh, yeah,
specific.
yeah.
This is what we'd like you to do.
And this is part of the reason why some people can't or won't do it. Because it is so...
And it's confrontational.
It is confrontational.
Yeah, but you said it's got to be done by really loving people.
Yes.
So it's confronting in love rather than in judgment. And that's really the crucial part of it, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, I'm a great believer in the Mary Poppins School of Psychology.
Okay.
Do you know?
Yeah.
And the Mary Poppins School of Psychology is, if we can all sing it together, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine goes down.
Yeah.
So when you start this, you start it by saying, we love you. Yeah. We like this about you. So you're calling out the good.
That really then, first of all, to tell your drinker just what you value about them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You could write all this down as well. And if you're doing it in a letter, it's better if you do.
Yeah, I think that's very important.
You start it off by, I love you.
Yeah.
But that's with the kicker.
Yeah.
So you're saying, I love you. These are the problems. Here's the solutions.
Yeah.
Now comes the real kicker.
Yeah.
And here are the consequences.
Right, okay.
And this is where a lot of people can't or won't follow through. Because the consequences need to be fairly important, fairly severe. And this is where the ultimatum comes in. But if it's an ultimatum, and if you're drinking, and you've done many ultimatums in the past, then the threats are just wallpaper. You think, oh, here she is again, or there he goes again. It's the same old. Yeah, they're saying it, but they won't follow through.
Yeah. This is really massive then, isn't it?
If you look at the statistics, then the statistics for the success are actually very, very high.
Okay.
Provided you go through all the steps.
Right. Okay.
Provided. But the people who start it and then never go through with it, that's also quite high as well. It's like a lot of things, if you don't do all the steps, then it's not going to be a success. And there has to be something rather crucial about the end of it. Yes, it's the end of the marriage. And each person needs to have a consequence. Each person in the team. You're my best friend, but I don't think I can see you again for a while, if you don't do something about this, etc.
I wouldn't want you to move out until we know that the drinking is sorted. And I suppose with the Bottled Up programme, we've done stop doing things that aren't any good, start doing things that are. Yeah. And people will do that, but get to the point where they think, okay, I've done all of this. Yeah. I really can't go on unless there's a major change. Yeah. And so the intervention is kind of, crux time, isn't it, really?
It is. This is the ultimate stick.
Yeah.
We've talked on a number of occasions throughout the podcasts about, the carrot and the stick is how people change. And this is the ultimate stick. That's what the intervention is about. And this is why it's so different from the movies. There is a lot of planning needs to go into this. You really need to think through exactly what you want to say to the drinker. But this kicker at the end, and if you don't, then. And very often the intervention is only done in extreme circumstances, when nothing else has worked. And that's why you get to this point, the intervention. For me, I didn't. Nobody did an intervention with me. I mean, I had lots and lots of ultimatums. I had lots of people pointing fingers. I had lots of all of that. But that's not the way I went.
No, life was your intervention.
Life was my intervention, ending up in a psychiatric hospital, being told, I had 6 months to live, had a hand to play in that. But that wasn't really what stopped me drinking. What stopped me drinking was the mirror. It was seeing that person looking back at me, that horrible, selfish, self-centered person that would have tramped over the top of anybody to get a drink. That was my intervention.
Yeah.
And that's part of what often comes up in the intervention. And we've talked about it throughout these podcasts, Jekyll, Hyde. I love Jekyll. don't like Hyde.
Mm.
I want Jekyll, I don't want Hyde.
So this is, I love Jekyll and Hyde has got to leave the relationship or the family or whatever, because I don't want them back. So really, these are for people that actually maybe are thinking, I've had enough. Maybe they've done share and they're absolutely sure that they've had enough, So what we're saying to you is, try not to pack a bag and write a note and, disappear onto the into the sunset, because this is your powerful moment. You're ready to go, but your drinker, if they hear that, may be ready to change. This is what we're saying. Yeah.
But again, I can't stress this enough. You need to know what you are prepared to do.
Yeah.
If you're not prepared to carry this through, then your intervention might not be as successful as you would like it to be.
So we're taking...
I'm not saying that's not to scare you.
Yeah.
That's just reality. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're taking the energy that we get to when we've had enough, that we've done share and thought, flipping out, I didn't realise quite how high I would score on this pivotal moment for you. Take that energy and do it properly, go in flight, because you have now power. You have real power of intention, that where you're coming from, you're able to say where you're coming from, and you're able to say, this is it for me, unless there is change. So, that moment, an intervention is saying, use that moment in a way that makes sense and works. This is what we're saying, isn't it? Yeah. Good.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
It's really not an easy thing to do. And some places you can find people who are what's called interventionists. They seem to have quite a lot of them in the States. I'm not so sure about this country. And these are people who will come and basically run it for you. If you can find one and they will run it for you, then they will they won't do all the work for you, because they can't. They can't, because this is individual to you. But what they will do is they'll guide you through it.
And that's why you did the course.
Yes.
In this country, there aren't, I don't think, interventionists. Yes. Probably somebody out there thinking, I could do that.
Yeah. Well, what the interventionist does is they become the master of ceremonies as well. They sort of introduce it, lead it, point to whoever's got to talk at any given time. Without them, you're it.
Yeah.
You're the master of ceremonies, you're the planner, you've got to run it.
Okay, so what are the takeaways from this?
Well, obviously, you need to plan. You really need to plan. It's like everything else. The more preparation, the more chance of success. Yeah. If you put the work in, you'll get results. Do it half-baked, then no, you won't.
Yeah. And do it with respect. Avoid judgment. Do affirmation first.
Yeah.
So that's why you get people that you love. Make sure they tell your drinker how valued he is or she is, or they are. Yeah. And so that you're actually saying the love before you actually do the tough love bit. Yeah. And following through on consequences. That's really
important. I mean, one of the most powerful interventions I ever saw, and it was it didn't go through all of these stages. It was a little kid saying, "I want my daddy back," and so it went, "Ooh," that was a powerful one, And
we're not saying get the kids involved, but that's just an example of
no, you can't hire kids. But I mean, it was that heartfelt, and in a nutshell, it just encapsulated the whole problem.
Yeah.
I want my daddy back. And that was the love, sort of the Jekyll Hyde bit. You need to have carried out the research, because you're trying to forestall any excuses like, I need to find out what's available. But there are lots of things that are available. You're not just offering them one, you're offering them a menu. And the menu might be the GP, AA, sober buddies, whatever is around in your area. But you've already sussed all that out, and you know exactly what's available and what they can give you. Okay? And the last thing, and again, it's crucial, it's unfortunate, but you need to know what you'll do if there's no change. You need to be quite clear about that. And both of you need to be quite clear that you'll carry it through.
And, I can well imagine if I'd done this, if I knew what to do, you'd probably have a bit of heartache and crying with all the people that love you before you do it. It's going to be painful. But if you're all in it together, just to say this again, love is the key always in this, not judgment, confrontation.
Mhm.
It's what they call tough love, but
Yeah.
love is the key in all. This is the most powerful weapon we've got, really, I think, in life, is operating in love, even if sometimes we're saying difficult things.
Nobody's saying this is easy. Nobody's saying it's easy in any way. But if you can think of it as a rescue mission,
Yeah, it's a good way. Yes.
then, maybe that makes it easier for
Yeah,
you.
I like that. Okay, so carry out your rescue mission.
Yeah.
And I hope that's been helpful.
I hope so. Thanks for listening today. There's a full intervention course available on the Bottled Up website. Just go to www.bottled-up.com to sign up. And then you will also find lots of free advice and resources on the website.
If you like what we're doing, please like and subscribe to this podcast and leave us a good review, because it always helps, and maybe share with someone else. We look forward to you joining us again soon. Bye-bye.